Couple of years, Texans will be able to make everyday purchases with gold and silver. That's after Governor Greg Abbott signed House Bill 1056 into law last month.
And while the bill is stated intent is to give consumers a hedge against inflation, it could be used to turn Texas into a tax haven. State Capitol reporter Adam Schwager breaks down what the program could look like.
It's a rush in Texas, and in 2027, you'll be able to spend your hard-earned money in the form of gold and silver.
The value being tied to gold has given me a hedge against inflation. 3 years ago, gold was about $1,700 an ounce. Today, gold is over $3,000 an ounce.
The process wouldn't be as simple as paying a gold coin for a bag of Doritos. Instead, you would take your gold and silver and deposit it in the state of Texas, who would take that money and then create a debit card style system for you to be able to pay with gold and silver.
But when I paid for instance, on Delta Airlines, I paid for my flight, I paid 7 grams of gold.
That's Jason Cousins, the CEO of Glint. That's a private company who uses MasterCard to conduct transactions, taking gold from the customer's end and paying it out as legal tender to the vendor. While Glint is already legal in Texas, Cousins says making gold and silver a currency would exempt the metals from federal capital gains taxes.
You have the ability to get rid of capital gains tax, which is the biggest immoral tax on people's ability to try and keep their purchasing power. You can imagine that every single person across the United States has this opportunity. They're going to open accounts here.
However, an expert witness from the Comptroller's office was not sure if the law is constitutional when it was debated before committee.
The court said, and I quote, "The United States has the sole power to coin money under the Constitution, and if anyone, individual or state, assumes to supplant the medium of exchange adopted by our government or assumes to compete with the United States government in this regard, a violation of these statutes would follow."
In Austin, I'm Adam Schwager.
In a social media post after the bill was signed, Governor Greg Abbott said the law, quote, fulfills the promise of Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. Now, that article prohibits states from declaring anything as legal tender unless it's gold or silver.
Going in depth, this comes more than 5 decades after the U.S. stopped using the gold standard. The gold standard was a system where the value of a country's money was tied to a certain amount of gold. The standard started to phase out in 1933 for domestic transactions before the U.S. fully ditched it in 1971. Since then, the U.S. has used a system where money's value comes from trust in the government, not a physical backing.
In the Williamson County town of Taylor right now, the city council meeting is packed with people concerned about a $1 billion data center. At issue, the plans from Blueprint Data Centers, an Austin-based company. Tonight, the city is discussing the company's plans for a 52-acre lot. We've heard neighbors at previous city council meetings express concern about transparency.
We've been asking for information, and we haven't had it.
For that information, though, you're saying that it's not going to have an impact, but you aren't giving any tangible information that pertains to this particular area, to the individuals who are going to be physically and emotionally and mentally impacted.
Now, that was the co-founder of Blueprint being questioned at a community meeting on Monday. He responded to concerns by saying that the building will be enclosed. The area near San Angelo is dealing with a massive sewage spill. Nearly 1.6 million gallons poured out after floodwaters tore through parts of the hill country a couple of weeks ago. On the day of the deadly floods, 15 inches of rain fell, damaging San Angelo's wastewater system. That sent sewage into the Concho River, which flows into the Colorado River and eventually through Austin. The city reported another spill of 67,000 gallons at a different site. Local agencies tell us no extra water testing is being done right now, only routine checks. And a spokesperson for the city of San Angelo says any risks from the spill was, quote, greatly minimized due to the floodwater dilution and extremely high river flow. From Austin to Newark, major travel hubs have experienced delays due to air traffic controller staffing. Today, Austin City Council unanimously approved a resolution addressing that issue. KXAN's Grace Reeder breaks down what Austin has control over and how local leaders are trying to be creative in how they help the federal government.
Local leaders have called the shortage of air traffic controllers nationwide dangerous and disruptive.
I myself have been part of a flight experience when I'm trying to come back to Austin and the pilot gets on the mic and they say, We're going to be 30 to 45 minutes delayed because of issues at the Austin airport.
But air traffic controller staffing is not within the City of Austin's control. That's the job of the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA. Austin City Council approved a resolution Thursday that asks the FAA to prioritize staffing at our airport, do a better job communicating impacts to the city.
And then, most importantly, it adds a local solution. So rather than just pointing a finger, we are lending a hand and looking at the ways that we can create Austin's very own Air Traffic Controller Academy.
The FAA told KXAN this is a priority for them too. In July, the FAA says it saw the highest number of academy students in training in FAA's history. 550 students by the end of the month, they said. They also say they've shaved more than 5 months off of their administrative process. We'll continue to leverage opportunities, big and small, to keep chipping away at the shortage to keep our skies safe, U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said. Austin hoping its future academy can be part of that solution, but specifically benefit our airport.
If we stand up an academy, the first in our state, to address the national shortage, can we have that prioritization to have individuals who go through the training get prioritized to our own airport?
Grace Reeder, KXAN News.
Next up in the process, the City of Austin is working with Austin Community College to figure out best practices for a possible academy. And city staff will also work to connect with the FAA over the council's requests. The FAA told us it would respond directly to the city regarding the council's concerns. Right now, there are about 14,000 air traffic controllers. That is according to the FAA's website. The agency needs to hire 3,000 more to fully staff the system nationwide. A recent study from the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine blames the staffing challenges on past hiring constraints and misallocated workforce. The FAA's website shows it streamlined the hiring process from an 8-step process to 5 steps. Now, starting salaries for controllers who are still undergoing training is just over $22 an hour plus benefits. And then within 3 years of graduation, the FAA says the average pay for a controller is $160,000 a year. Thanks so much for joining us tonight at 9. I'm Daniel Marin. Jennifer has the night off. Tech pains in the growing city of Taylor in Williamson County. A $1 billion data center bought the entire neighborhood out to tonight's city council meeting. The Blueprint data center is planned for the city's southeast side, but neighbors say it's too close to their homes. KXAN's Barrett Tryon was at the meeting with reaction and why city leaders say there's not much they can do.
All played right here, every last one of it. If you know anybody that lived on 1st and 2nd Avenue in Taylor, everybody knew about 1st and 2nd Avenue because that's what all the kids used to come and play baseball.
Pamela Dixon has called 2nd Avenue home for her entire life. These fields will soon be developed into a massive data center. The $1 billion project will be around 500 feet from her backyard.
I know Taylor needs to grow. I want Taylor to grow, but not off our backs.
She, along with dozens of others, showed up at Thursday night's council meeting. 16 people spoke out against the project.
Those great opportunities. I keep talking about this as an opportunity because I really think it is. This lack of transparency and disregard for public input sends a clear message that the nearby residents are not being taken seriously.
Only one person spoke in favor of the data center.
But in this case, the benefits of progressing with this project are significant.
Council members say their hands are tied on what happens to the site in the future because of a previously adopted land code.
We can't determine that use is yes or no. The use is embedded in the code.
The ordinance ended up passing 5-0. Construction on that data center is expected to begin in the next few months. In Taylor, Barrett Tryon, KXAN News.
And Taylor's mayor said that they encouraged the company to hire a public relations firm to keep neighbors updated on the plans. Going in depth, the city of Taylor is becoming a major player in the tech industry. Samsung says they expect their semiconductor plant to be operational at the end of 2026. Last summer, a South Korean manufacturing company announced it would invest $175 million into opening a phosphoric acid facility to help with Samsung's semiconductor plant. And then last year, we told you about the University of Texas at Austin Taylor Center, which would focus on training and research in the semiconductor field.